Judge fines Karoline Leavitt for wearing a cross, only to discover she's a legal genius. The courtroom buzzed with its usual blend of tension and monotony, the slow, rhythmic tapping of heels on marble echoing under the high ceilings. Karoline Leavitt stepped into the 17th District Courthouse of Hartford City with a quiet presence, clutching a leather-bound notepad and wearing a modest blazer. Around her neck, a small golden cross hung delicately, barely noticeable unless one was searching for it. She wasn't there to make a statement, merely to observe. As a junior assistant to a local defense attorney, Karoline often sat in the back of the courtroom, unnoticed, listening, learning. Today, however, would be different. Judge Theodore Wexler, known for his strict courtroom demeanor and ironclad control of proceedings, entered and immediately scanned the room. His eyes, sharp and assessing, landed on Karoline. His gaze lingered. "Mississippi. You in the back," he said, his voice slicing through the murmurs. Karoline rose slowly, puzzled. "Yes, Your Honor? That cross. You're in violation of this court's neutrality policy regarding religious symbols." She instinctively touched the necklace. "Sir, it's a personal item, not intended to disrupt or influence." "I won't argue. Remove it or face a fine." She paused. Everyone was watching. The attorneys, the court staff, the spectators. "With all due respect, Your Honor, I can't comply." Gasps and whispers filled the room. Wexler banged his gavel. "Then you're fined $250. Next time, you'll be removed." Karoline sat back down, calm but burning inside. Her hand found the cross again, and she made a silent promise to herself. Later that evening, Karoline sat in her modest apartment surrounded by shelves of legal books, most secondhand, many annotated with sticky notes and highlights. She powered on her laptop and began drafting a legal motion. Her fingers moved swiftly, referencing constitutional articles, landmark court cases, and historical precedents. She wove a compelling argument, one that framed her cross not as a statement, but as an expression of identity, protected, not prohibited. Her roommate Maya leaned over her shoulder, eyes widening. "What is that?" My response. "Karoline, this looks like something you'd file in federal court." "This is genius." Karoline offered a small shrug. "It's just accurate." The next morning, she submitted the motion to the clerk's office. The clerk, at first dismissive, read a few paragraphs before his eyebrows rose. He looked up at her differently. The motion was passed along. Quietly, curiously. Judge Wexler, sitting in his chambers, read the motion with growing disbelief. It was brilliantly written. The arguments were airtight, the precedents stacked smartly, and the language poised yet confident. He felt the sting of embarrassment. A junior assistant had outmaneuvered him. He called a formal hearing. "Bring in Landon Mays," he instructed. "We'll make an example of this." Mays, a star prosecutor known for his wit and courtroom charisma, was brought in to argue the court's position. The stage was set. Karoline was informed that she could represent herself. She smiled politely. "That'll be fine." Word spread. By the day of the hearing, the courtroom was packed. Law students, reporters, curious locals, and courthouse staff crammed into every seat. Cameras were forbidden inside, but that didn't stop the media from lining the steps outside. In the days leading up to the hearing, Karoline was relentless in her preparation. She studied case law for hours each night, often losing track of time and needing to be reminded by Maya to eat. Her table was cluttered with yellow legal pads, law reviews, and color-coded tabs. She took notes by hand, a habit she never abandoned despite her typing speed. Maya, watching Karoline flip through yet another law journal, asked, "Why are you doing this?" "Not just for the fine, right?" Karoline looked up. "No. It's for every person who thinks they need to hide who they are to be taken seriously." Maya nodded. "Then make them see." The morning of the hearing was gray and cool. Karoline walked to court in silence, the cross visible on her neck. Outside, a group of protesters had gathered. Some held signs that read "Secular Courts for All," while others bore banners stating "Freedom of religion is a right." Inside, Mays began with confidence. "Your Honor, this is a clear violation of the neutrality policy. Numerous courts have upheld restrictions on overt religious displays within legal settings." He referenced courtroom decorum and the necessity for a space that does not suggest bias. He argued that Karoline's visible cross, though small, could undermine the perception of impartiality. Karoline waited patiently. When it was her turn, she stood, adjusted her blazer, and spoke with quiet certainty. "Your Honor, neutrality cannot mean erasure. It means fairness. And the Constitution is clear. Personal religious expression is protected unless it interferes with function or fairness." She cited Tinker v. Des Moines, which protected students' rights to wear symbolic items as long as it did not disrupt learning. She pivoted to nuanced cases, such as Chandler v. Siegelman, which dealt with the right of students to pray in school as long as it was not school-sponsored. Then she dissected the court's neutrality policy itself, challenging its vague language and potential for discriminatory interpretation. People were stunned. Not only was she composed, she was devastatingly precise. Mays stumbled. Wexler frowned, but said nothing. After the hearing, Karoline stepped into a sea of reporters. She was careful in her statements, never attacking Wexler personally, but standing firm in her argument. "This is about more than me. It's about what kind of justice system we want to uphold." That night, Karoline's email inbox overflowed. Legal scholars reached out with praise. Former clients of her mentor sent letters of support. She also received hate mail, some vile, some simply angry. Then, her laptop froze. She tried restarting it, but key files were missing. Her folders on legal precedents, her research logs, even her court transcripts, gone. "Someone did this," she said, her voice low. Maya called her friend Jordan, a cybersecurity student. After an hour, he confirmed her suspicion. "Your system was accessed remotely through a spoofed admin password. Whoever did this knew exactly what to target." Jordan helped recover most of the files from a cloud backup Karoline had forgotten was running. Relief was brief. Whoever had tried to sabotage her wasn't just careless. They were connected. Karoline filed a complaint with the court's IT division, but knew nothing would come of it. "They want me rattled," she said. "So, I'll make sure I'm not." The next day, she received a call from retired Judge Helen Cortez. "Karoline," said the elderly but vibrant voice on the other end, "I read your motion. It reminded me of why I took the bench all those years ago. You've got the gift." "Thank you, Judge Cortez. I appreciate the encouragement. More than that, I want to offer my presence at the final hearing. As an amicus observer, I can sit in the front row and let them know someone's watching." Karoline hesitated, then smiled. That would mean a great deal. The final hearing was standing room only. Law students took notes feverishly. Even Wexler looked overwhelmed by the attention. He cleared his throat more often, looked less certain. Mays delivered a sharp, polished argument, but this time, Karoline was more than a match. She moved like a veteran attorney, anticipating his points and countering with calm authority. "I do not wear this cross to offend, to preach, or to provoke. I wear it because it is part of me. The law doesn't ask me to abandon who I am to enter a courtroom. It protects my right to be here, exactly as I am." She turned to Wexler. "And if neutrality is your goal, Your Honor, then it must include neutral treatment of those who believe and those who don't." She closed with a flourish, quoting Wexler's own prior ruling. "Justice cannot exist where uniformity is forced and diversity silenced." "That's your writing, sir." "And I agree." Wexler stared at her, face unreadable. The panel conferred. Then the chief judge spoke. "This court finds that Miss Leavitt's right to religious expression was violated. The fine is reversed." The courtroom erupted in applause. Overnight, Karoline's name became a beacon in legal circles. Universities offered her guest lecture opportunities. Podcasts requested interviews. Legal magazines wanted op-eds. But Karoline wasn't interested in fame. She used her new visibility to launch a nonprofit legal clinic focused on defending constitutional rights for underrepresented individuals. Weeks later, a handwritten letter arrived at her doorstep. Miss Leavitt, you reminded me why I became a judge. T. Wexler. A check was enclosed, made out to her clinic. The clinic opened quietly on a foggy Monday morning. Inside, Karoline organized papers, set out legal brochures, and placed a tiny wooden sign on her desk. Equal rights. Real justice. The door creaked open. A nervous young intern peeked in. Hi. I'm sorry, I wasn't sure am I allowed to wear this? She asked, touching a silver crescent necklace. Karoline smiled warmly. In this courtroom, you're safe. And with that, the next chapter began.